What's going on, beautiful people? Daniel Mediar here in the building. Today we're going to go through an email from our fellow follower who gained 86 pounds in the last, I think it was 2 years or something like that. And we'll go through all the hassle that he's going through and we'll try to help him. See what led him to that, if he struggles with emotional eating, if he's been obese before, if he has any history with obesity, experience levels, and etc. However, before I start, if you guys need my help, you can book your consultation or join my coaching program at dmprotrainer.com. If you're looking for the beef in a really high quality, grass-fed, grass-finished, American raised, and American produced, you can find it on dmbeef.com. The beef is coming from Texas and Utah. So that's also going to support the local farmers. Now, let's get straight into the email. Hi, Daniel. Over the last 2 years, I gained 86 pounds. Writing that out still makes my stomach drop. It didn't happen all at once, and that's the part of why it got so bad. A little here, a little there. Well, 2 years for 86 pounds, it's a pretty steady gain, you know. It's like, let's say we got about, 4 pounds a week. That's quite a bit. Sorry, 4 pounds a month. Yeah, that's quite a bit. Longer days at work, eating whatever was fast, telling myself I would deal with it later. Before I knew it, later had turned into 2 years. At one point, I finally hit the wall and decided to do something about it. I dieted, I exercised, I pushed myself. I lost 30 pounds. For a while, it felt like I had proven something to myself, like I wasn't stuck, like I still had control. And then I lost momentum. I don't have one clean explanation for why. It wasn't a single injury, or one bad week, or some dramatic event. Well, what happened, the motivation just faded away, This happens a lot. Like, people have multiple attempts of losing weight, and then eventually they get fed up, they get very frustrated, and they're sick, literally sick, looking in the mirror, and that's a good spot to start. Because if you kind of want to lose weight, you kind of get on a diet, and you kind of lose weight, and then you kind of get back to the old habits. So that's why I always go back to my slogan, you need a funeral for the past, not motivation for the future. Because this is what motivation does. It will get you excited for a little bit. You'll follow nutrition and exercise for a little bit, but then eventually you slide back into your old habits. It happens to people all the time. It was just life. Work got busier. The kids needed more of me. I was exhausted all the time. I missed workouts, then missed more. I loosened up my eating just for now, and then turned into old habits coming back full force. Not only did I gain the 30 pounds back, I gained an additional 42 pounds on top of that. No, brother, that's too much. You said you gained 30 pounds back, and then an additional 42 on top of that? Ooh, what is trigger? Like, this sounds like emotional eating, honestly. Something was triggering you to keep eating, because you packed on so much weight. 86 before, then you lost 30, and then you put on 72. That's an emotional eating for sure. So far, it looks like you're really stressed out, and you deal with the stress through food. So now I'm heavier than I was before I ever tried to fix this. That's the part that really messes with my head. It feels like failure stacked up on top of failure. I know what I'm supposed to do. That's almost the worst part. This isn't a mystery problem. I know about calories, I know about consistency, I know what works because I've seen it work for me before. I can't pretend I'm confused, I'm just stuck. I work construction, my days start early, and at the end of the day, I'm tired. I'm on my feet, lifting, moving, problem solving all day. So if you're always in motion, and especially if you're working construction, and you still gain this much weight, this just tells me you must be eating so many calories per day. Because you got the physical activity, moving around stuff, walking around with the hammer or with the heavy objects, probably hammering some stuff. You're sweating, breathing heavy. You work all day. That means that your calorie burn is there. So your calorie intake must be absolutely out of control. Like, We're dealing with certainly a sugar addiction because a lot of stuff that you're going to be eating are going to contain sugar. And also with a really enlarged stomach. Like your stomach can blow up like a balloon and then shrink back in. When you shrink your stomach, you're not usually able to eat that much. Like you stop yourself. But you definitely have a problem with overeating, right? Like you're eating very, very large amounts of calories and very large portions at the same time. Of course, bad foods. It would be different if you were just stuck at home and you were working an office job and your your calorie burn is minimal, like you're not moving all day. But the fact that you're constantly moving and you manage to gain 42 pounds on top of the last 30, that's a lot. I know about consistency. I know what works. Okay, we got that. From the outside, people assume that means I'm active and in shape. The reality is that being physically tired doesn't mean you're healthy, and it doesn't automatically cancel out bad eating or stress. By the time I get home, my energy is gone. The last thing I want to think about is planning meals or forcing myself to exercise when my body already hurts. Right, so that's common. That's why I want to do it before you go to work. And you don't want to choose a workout that's going to beat you up. Like hour and a half at the gym with the heavy weights. That's going to create a lot of muscle damage. You're going to be really sore. Then you got to go to work and do another, 8 or 10 hour shift doing physical labor. You want to do something like H3. That doesn't leave you sore. You can get it done quickly, 20 to 30 minutes prior you go to work, and that's it. You stimulated muscle to grow. Because you're physically active. But physically active at construction site doesn't stimulate the muscle to grow. There's just no stimulus. For stimulus, you need stretch and contraction and stretch and contraction under resistance. You need to fatigue the basic energy sources of the body, which is the creatine phosphate, ATP, and glycogen. And as soon as you fatigue those, you deliver an absolute fatigue and exhaustion to the muscle that trigger the central nervous system to start building new muscle. You activate mTOR, which triggers the protein synthesis. So you certainly need resistance you certainly need fatigue under resistance. That's going to trigger the real growth. Now with you're probably not going to have an issue hitting 15K steps a day because you're already active. So adding additional cardio is not going to be necessary. What we need to focus on is really, really fixing your diet. So let's get deeper into this. The last thing I want to think about is planning meals or forcing myself to exercise when my body already hurts. On top of that, I'm a father of 2. That's the part I'm proud of above anything else. But it also means my time isn't mine anymore. Mornings are chaos, evenings are homework, dinner, baths, bedtime routines. Weekends aren't for recovery or self-care. They're for soccer games, birthday parties, errands, and trying to be present. Somewhere along the way, my own health became the thing that was easiest to push aside. Not because it wasn't important, but because everything else felt more urgent. Lately though, I can't ignore it anymore. My body feels heavy in a way that it isn't just physical. My knees ache more than they should. I get out of breath faster than I used to. I avoid mirrors when I can. Well, that's pretty common. I mean, you get fatigued, you get some joint pain, you get out of breath very quickly. I choose clothes based on what hides me the best, not what I actually like. I feel older than I am. Okay, yeah, so that's a big psychological issue where you have to adjust your wardrobe accordingly to hide your body fat, because that means that you're ashamed of how you look. And that's not a good place to be in mentally. You certainly should be proud of how you look, of your physique, of your strength. That's how you display strength and discipline to the world, is through your physique, is being lean and being strong. That means that you got control. What scares me the most is realizing how easy it is, how easy it has become to say, I'll deal with this later. Later when work slows down. Later when the kids are older. Later when things are less hectic. But if I'm honest, the later never really comes. There's always another project, another responsibility, another reason to wait. Exactly, there's no right time to start. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. If you're postponing and delaying your fitness, you're not really serious. You're at the very beginning stages of becoming frustrated with where you're at. Like you really need to get to a point of absolute frustration and get up, hammer the table and say, I'm done. That's it. From this point on, I need a change. And usually frustration and delays, frustration from the delays leads to that. So eventually you're going to get into that mental state where you just hammer the table and say, done, I'm done. And I don't think I can afford to keep waiting. This isn't just about weight anymore. It's about the example I'm setting for my kids. It's about whether I have the energy to keep up with them as they grow. It's about whether I'm still physically capable of doing my job 10 or 15 years from now. Well, that's true. Yeah, if you need to be physically in shape for the construction, you definitely got to fix it now. But, with the meal plan, there's really no excuse for that from anybody because people often say, like, I don't have time to cook, so I eat fast food. Right, if I eat fast food, I'll never gain weight. Why? Because I order beef. Like, if you go to McDonald's, you already spend time in a drive-thru. You're already going to spend money on the food. It's just a matter of what do you tell to people to cook for you. That's it. So if you choose to eat Big Mac and fries, you're going to gain weight. But if you choose to order beef patties only, you're going to get the good protein, good fat, and that's it. You already made a different choice. So it's really all about choices. You're already going through a drive-thru. You're already spending time to get some food, but you're choosing to eat bad. That's the different thing. Because that's where you're getting the dopamine in the chaos. You are feeling stressed out because things are hectic. So food is the only thing that's going to make you feel better temporarily. 15, 20 minutes of dopamine hit, and then you feel better. But 2-3 hours later, you regret your decision, and you just poured the gasoline on the fire of your weight gain. And then you're unhappy, and you're digging yourself a deeper hole in your mental state because you're going to constantly be more and more frustrated with yourself that you just can't get your diet under control. But it's so simple. Just make a different choice in the drive-thru. If I was relying on McDonald's, I would never gain fat. I would just eat beef. That's it. I would skip the fries, drinks, everything. Make sense? So it's really all about a choice. Construction isn't forgiving, and carrying this much extra weight isn't doing me any favors. I also know that mentally, that has been wearing me down more than I admitted. There's a constant low-level frustration that follows me around. I'm irritated with myself. I'm disappointed in myself. And that makes it harder to start again because part of me feels like, what's the point? You'll just mess it up again. But another part of me knows that I'm doing nothing that guarantees things will get worse. I don't want 2026 to be another year where I look back and say, I should have started then. I don't want to be writing the same email a year from now with even higher numbers attached to it. I'm not getting any younger, and my body is already telling me that. At the same time, I'm not under any illusion that this is going to be easy or fast. Well, what's really beneficial is that 2025 is pretty much at the end in a couple hours. So a lot of people find a temporary kick, temporary motivation at the beginning of the year because new year, new you. Of course, you're going to believe that or you're going to follow that for a couple of weeks, and after that, all of your goals fade away in most cases. But if you want to use that temporary motivation, you certainly can, just so you get the momentum. You already had a momentum before you lost 30 pounds. You're like, 38% already at the goal. So you can use the new year, new me slogan to gain that temporary motivation and then just gain momentum. And once when you're in a momentum, you just use pure discipline, which means that you do things even when you don't like it. Stop feeling about it. You're supposed to work out. I don't feel like working out. Well, guess what? I don't either. Not every day. Like, for example, today I don't feel like working out. Guess what I'm going to do right after this live stream? Go work out. I don't really feel about it. Made sense? I get it done. So that's the discipline that you have built in over years and years and years. People are disciplined in many different aspects of their life. Like, you will never skip your child's soccer game. You won't, because it's important. So you just need to prioritize your fitness the same way. And then your discipline will get you there. You're going to bend the world to get your children to the soccer game, like you mentioned. So you're going to bend the world to fit in the workout. The same way. You have it, you just prioritize different things. Make sense? At the same time, I'm not under any illusion that this is going to be easy or fast. I learned that crash dieting and going all in for a few weeks isn't the answer for me. I can white knuckle my way through short bursts of discipline, but I can't sustain extremes. So actually, you can white knuckle the motivation. The discipline is the one that works long term. That's the one that's not negotiable. Discipline will make you do things even when you don't like it. What I need is something realistic, something that fits into life that's already full. That's H3. It's very simple. Like H3 you can do for 20, 30 minutes right before you go to work out, so I would definitely do that. Now, meals is just a matter of managing what you eat, right? Like you are already eating, and brother, you're spending a lot of time eating. If you're this physically active and you still manage to gain 72 pounds, that means that you spend so much time by sitting down and eating large quantities of food. So you don't have time, you don't have an excuse for not choosing the right stuff. Now, the carnivore diet will be the best option for you, because that's what I've been just doing myself and what I've been using for all of my clients. And it really works the best for the weight loss, but you still need to be under calorie restriction. You can't just pound 5 pounds of butter a day and expect to lose weight. That's just a modern nonsense called priming, where people just gain 40 pounds and they call it they're optimizing their hormones. No, you just gain a bunch of fat that you will need to lose. So you will have to be calorically restricted. If you need help with the meal plan, you can book a consultation. However, if you want to do this on your own, I clearly describe it in my book. Monday through Friday, you go low days. 1 meal a day, then you fast. Saturday, Sunday, you eat more. No fasting whatsoever. You eat 2-3 meals a day, and you hit the active metabolite rate in terms of calories. Now, on the low days, I usually go below the basal metabolite rate, 200-300 calories below. Why? Because I'm not afraid of losing down the metabolism, because I got Saturday, Sundays that's going to bring the calories back up. So I'm preventing long-term stress on my metabolism. This method has been the most successful method I've ever used for all of my coaching clients. So calorie cycling it is. Carnivore diet, you can do beef, eggs, you can do some dairy, but a little bit, because dairy is very rich on protein, rich on lactose, which is the milk sugar, and also rich on fat, which increases the total calories in this product. So you get a little bit of slice of cheese, which is not going to fill you up, and you're already 70 calories in. Makes sense? So I don't like to use a whole lot of dairy in a weight loss program, but tiny little bit, okay, just for the taste. As long as it fits your calories, you'll be fine. That's part of the reason why I'm writing this. I need accountability, but I also need understanding. I need to stop pretending that I can solve this in isolation, or that I'll magically wake up one morning with unlimited motivation. Motivation has never been the thing that saved me long term. Systems and habits have, even when I didn't feel like it. Yes, so here's the system. In the morning you wake up, you get the resistance training done. Because you already said after work, you got chaos. You got responsibilities as a father, and you're exhausted on top of it. So you wake up 20-30 minutes earlier, you get the H3 done, no negotiations. Then you just do your work stuff, and when you eat, you're actually going to save so much time, because right now, I guarantee you're spending a lot of time by sitting down and eating, ordering foods, restaurants or drive-thrus, waiting in drive-thrus. You're spending a lot of time with food on a daily basis because you're eating a lot of calories. So we're going to limit the time that you're spending by eating just by switching your meal plan to 1 meal a day. That's all you really need, because you need to lose weight. And that 1 meal will be calorically restricted. For example, lunch. So then that means you don't have to worry about the food all day long. You eat 1 meal for lunch, and then everything that happens afternoon is just pretty much up to you. You don't really need to invest that much time and energy as you might think, right? And then once when you gain the momentum, you'll just disciplinary follow it. I'm frustrated, but I'm also clear on one thing. I can't postpone my weight loss anymore. Not because I suddenly feel inspired, but the cost of staying where I am is finally higher than the discomfort of changing. That's a pretty good mental state. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm not promising a dramatic transformation overnight. What I am committing to is starting again, this time with my eyes open. I know there will be setbacks, but minor ones. Like you don't want to have another 30 pound gain setback. If you have a setback, let's say you're going to Cabo for a week, and then you take some Retta, so you suppress the appetite, and you come back 1.5 pounds heavier. That's like the biggest setbacks that I allow my clients to do so. Like if you blow up 10, 15, 20 pounds, it's just a brand new weight loss. That means that you have absolutely no control. And during the entire time of dieting, you were just thinking about pizza. When can I finally have that favorite food? Well, in weight loss, you can't focus on eating because you'll end up eating. Once you give your brain a task to focus on food, the food will happen, okay? If you're going to constantly occupy your brain by becoming a firefighter, you'll become one. If you're in a diet, hungry, and you constantly think about food, well, guess what's going to happen in Cabo, an ultra all-inclusive resort? You'll end up eating all day long. That's what your brain has been focusing on the whole time. Make sense? So we don't want that. You got to focus on the weight loss. When you're in a weight loss state, you're focusing on lower number on a scale. You should always give your brain a task. I want to see less and less and less next time I stand on a scale. I know there will be weeks where work crushes me and the scale doesn't move, but I also know that counting on this path guarantees more pain, more regret, and more limitations. 2026 has to be the year I fix this, or at least truly begin fixing it. Not halfway, not temporarily, not when things calm down. Now, as things are, with all the mess and responsibility and exhaustion that comes with my life. I'm tired of feeling trapped in a body that doesn't reflect who I am or how I want to live. I want to feel capable again. I want to feel proud of my effort, even on the days where progress is slow. I want to be around, active and strong for my kids for a long time. Writing this doesn't solve the problem, but it does make it real and makes myself commit to it. It forces me to stop hiding from the numbers and the choices that got me here. And maybe that's the first step I've been avoiding. Thanks for taking the time to read this. I didn't write it for sympathy. I wrote it because I need to stop lying to myself about how serious this has become and maybe get your 2 cents on it. I'm ready to start again, not perfectly, not heroically, but honestly. That's a good ending. Not perfectly, not heroically, but honestly. Not sure if I pronounced that word correctly, but yeah, so 2026, I mean, if you got 100 pounds to lose or so, you can fix it in a year, but it's going to be a year of full commitment to the weight loss because, yeah, there will be some setbacks and days and weeks when you're not going to lose any weight. However, you want to limit that as much as possible. Like I said, the biggest setback should be on 1.5 to 2 pounds at the most, which you can fix right away, and then you just keep going on your journey. Remember, you're starting the weight loss journey, not stays the same process. Because a lot of people, they just start the weight loss and they end up somewhere where you used to be, like you lose 30 pounds and they go back to the old habits. But it seems like you're pretty committed. It sounded like you are. So, first of all, you want to start resistance training, which is in the morning, then apply 5-to-2 ratio rule into your diet, which means 5 low-calorie days in a calorie deficiency below the basal metabolite rate. And then Saturday, Sunday, you eat calories at the active metabolite rate, all carnivore diet, meat, eggs, and cheese. If you don't know how to do it, let me know. And cardio, I don't think you really have to worry about adding more steps because it looks like you're very, very active throughout the whole day at work. So you probably walk around and you get 15K. The only minor thing that could happen, like wear an Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch, and just track your steps on a daily basis. And then if you see that you end up at like 13,000 by the end of the day, then the next day you have to step up the game a little bit to get the extra 2,000 somewhere. Having a set number for a day will give you the goal. Every single day you want to hit 15K steps per day, every day, okay? So if you know that 15K is something you have to accomplish, then throughout the day, you just focus on it. If you're at about 10K by noon, it's a pretty relaxed afternoon after that. You don't have to move as much. So this is just the mindset behind. If you have a goal, you're going to get it accomplished. So 15K will be your goal. All right. There's been an email for today, my beautiful people. If you have questions, shoot me an email at support@dmprotrainer.com. This is where all the emails are coming from. Then I'm reading, analyzing, giving you my 2 cents. And if you need my help, go to dmprotrainer.com. You can book your consultation.